AI Realized, the podcast about everything that is new, now, and next for enterprise executives deploying AI. Hosted by myself, Christina Elwood, and my collaborator, David Yakubovich.
Our guests will share what's driving AI adoption, use cases, and business models for the data and AI economy.
Where the future is bright.
Welcome to AI Realized, the podcast for enterprise executives leading AI deployments. From tackling security, data, and organizational challenges to navigating organizational transformation, AI deployment offers unique opportunities to redesign organizations from the inside out. I'm Christina Elwood, your host for today's episode, and today we're talking with Nitin Gupta, the Global Product Manager of AI for Mondelēz International. Nitin has led AI initiatives across multiple industries, from financial services to retail to consumer packaged goods. Today, he's helping a Fortune 200 company navigate the reality of deploying AI responsibly, moving POCs into production, and setting up governance councils and building an AI-first mindset. Nitin, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Christina.
Prior to your AI role at Mondelēz International, you've also worked in telecom, financial services, retail, and now consumer packaged goods. What unifies your journey and how do you approach AI strategy?
Sure. Thanks, Christina, for the overview about my background. So, yes, I have worked in different domains, especially retail, telecom, industrial, financial services, manufacturing, and now in CPG. So, what connects, I would say, is data. The core of my mandate has been how do you deliver more revenue, more commercial insights for the company using AI-driven products. And what has fundamentally connected every step in my journey is it was not just creation of proof of concept. It was how do you scale AI teams? How do you take it to run at enterprise level and scale the solutions, right? From predictive maintenance work in at a manufacturing conglomerate to driving more demand forecast and forecasting for the public goods that are there and leading to a tangible business impact, influencing C-suite, building scalable solutions, I would say, were the core which were connected across all my background so far.
Scaling was a big topic at our most recent executive roundtable. In fact, there was quite a brisk discussion about the definition of scale. And one of the themes there was that in order to scale and have actual adoption, you need to have a use case that is integrated into existing workflows rather than establishing an entirely new area for the application. Even though AI holds so much promise to allow us to do things that before now we haven't been able to do at all. Has that been your experience, that tackling an existing workflow and making it more efficient or more powerful, like in the case of your work in getting snacks on the shelf, if you will, for Mondelēz? Is it your experience that taking established workflows and applying it there is a more successful way to achieve adoption?
I would say every company or every enterprise would be having a lot of legacy systems and they are complex systems, right? So that is one major friction point I would say that a lot of companies do have that, okay, how do you ensure that all these systems, things have been sitting and of course they are working fine even till date. So it's not that legacy systems are not working, but how do you interact or how do you ensure that the integrations of these legacy systems happen with the new age driven ways and having unified architectures or fixing these fragmented architectures so that the deployments happen seamlessly, they usually slow down how solution integrations happen. And I think that is probably one big problem which the entire industry is facing, that okay, how do you ensure that these silos of legacy systems they go away and then you have a unified way of approaching AI at scale. And we are also working to solve some of these things like standardizing our data, having the right foundations, having governance in place, And of course, everything should be backed up by responsible AI. So ethical and legal angles are also taken into consideration, especially when you are integrating with the legacy systems which are there.
So it sounds like in this integration with legacy systems, that's really using AI as a new approach to existing work.
Mhm.
Have you had a situation where you were applying AI in an area that previously couldn't be done without the use of AI? And can you contrast that experience?
For me, AI has been existing for quite some time. It's not a new thing. Okay. It's now we are separating it with that. Okay. One is a traditional AI, which is foundational AI, like machine learning, forecasting, NLP, and the new, the Gen AI world, which is there, which is more on a generative AI component. So I would say our use cases were already there where we were seeing value. But Gen AI coming into picture, I would say it's even more, it has expedited our delivery. So something which was, I'll take an example here, and this is probably one of the wow moments as well, especially in CPG industry or in retail industry. I would say that, okay, earlier we used to take photographs of shelves, right, of how consumers are utilizing or consuming or buying products at a store. Now with vision models, right? Now I'm not talking about the foundational AI models. I'm talking about the new LLM based vision models which are there. How do you take a photograph, like, and you even scan a video? It's converts it into actionable insights so quickly. That's a very unique use case which I've seen, that okay, you don't have to wait for the data to process and then give out information. Self autonomous driving cars, they also use similar complex multimodal systems where vision, audio, and sensor data are combining, and you get insights in real time. So I think with the advent of more compute power scaling, we are able to achieve better results which were earlier a little bit difficult, to get.
What role does the AI council at Mondelēz play in how the company makes decisions about using AI and how it affects your work?
So, and this is for in general, like any enterprise company, I would say, not just speaking about Mondelez. AI councils usually help in ensuring that right guardrails are put in place, and because there can be like thousands of AI use cases which can be deployed, but everything has to be backed up by responsible AI, how what things fit into our ecosystem which would maximize our benefit and minimize any kind of impact or exposure of our confidential data onto any kind of public system. So I would say majority of the use cases, they go through the governance team or the AI council team, and then they are vetted over there. Presentations do happen, and then the leadership takes a decision whether they should be moving forward with doing a POC. And then, of course, if the POC is successful, then should that go into production? Because every POC may not lead to same benefits when they actually go into production. So, hence, leadership buy in is very important. And that's what happens as part of the council.
Certainly getting that buy-in is critical to being able to go to scale with or even just to go to deployment from a pilot. When moving from pilot to production to adoption at scale, what has worked for you in that flow, in moving from project to pilot to production to scale?
Okay, so I would say that's the toughest thing. Creating the POCs is easy. The reality is things when they actually have to move in production and work at scale, right? You need to ensure that things are happening the right way, like the models don't hallucinate. You get the results, or you're able to replicate the results. Even forecasting, demand forecasting, if I take an example, something which is working in a POC and giving you good results may not work and give you results at scale. So doing the so it has to be backed up by a lot of iterations, right? Multiple rounds of testing, human in the loop, right, to evaluate the results, to ensure that what is expected of it is actually comes out even from a production perspective. So those are, and then of course security and legal aspects I already talked about. So basically moving from a POC to production, we have to ensure that all the guidelines which are set up at an enterprise level from an architecture perspective are followed, so that the system is able to work and handle things at scale. Now when I talk about adoption, that's an altogether different ball game, right, where we need to, again, the change management is very important, especially having the right set of people in place, having the right leadership buy-in so that the adoption of the product happen. There are lots of organization challenges which have to be overcome, especially when you're talking about adoption of an AI product. So working with cross-functional teams, be it in business, be it in tech, and having change champions is very important from an adoption perspective. And it might take time, right, because of different issues and areas. So hence it's necessary to take care of all that.
On the adoption side of things, working cross-functionally in your organization, which is an example of a adoption challenge that you faced and then solved with a cross-functional team?
Some of it like I face every single day, I would say. Okay, especially working in from a product side of things. See, number one is it can be resilience to change. There can be gaps in leadership buy-in, maybe change in leadership also, when people move, when leaders move from one role to another role, right? So same vision is not carried forward. So it's important that the vision is carried forward. Then you also have regulatory concerns. Now change management also moves not just from a product perspective. There can be trust issues also, right? You cannot have black box outputs. The outputs needs to be explainable so that there is business buy-in, there is like people who are stakeholders responsible for taking it forward with and helping in change enablement, they are satisfied with the results. So those are some of the blockers which I feel are there and hurdles which we face and then we overcome. And then there is some fear, right, that okay, people say that okay, AI will replace jobs. It's not that, right? So it's helping in augmenting or helping in improving the way things are happening. So we have to do the right set of trainings also. So training also plays a very important role, that okay, your productivity is going to increase or improve when you have these kind of solutions back in your day-to-day work. And we have seen substantial improvement. People are Reps are able to sell better because they are able to have all the information in together available with them when they are actually negotiating or working in a store. That change in mindset is helping them understand through the right training and the right tools for them.
In the consumer product goods area, where do you see AIs creating the most immediate value today? Is it in the supply chain, in the consumer insights, or in the product innovation, or in some other area?
I would say it's touching all across. It's not like I cannot pinpoint one single thing. It is cutting across everywhere. The most important impact, like I said, when our ground sales reps are able to use things and we are able to assist them, that's where the true impact is visible. And we are seeing like lots of impact in terms of that. Okay, how do you reduce waste? How do you have the right forecasting, right? How do you ensure that visits are planned and the supply chain is not disrupted due to weather, due to different events which happen? So it's cutting across, I would say, and everywhere there are touch points where we are making use of AI.
So it sounds like at the end of the day, you're able to ensure not only is your product on the shelf and it's fresh, but that the store and your salesperson are all on the same page about what is needed and when. Is that a fair summary?
Absolutely. And what actions they need to take. So some of my products are based on that, where providing the right insights to the sales reps is very important. And that has to be data backed. It really helps them. And
Yeah. So you've called for an AI first mindset. What does that mean in practice for a global enterprise?
by AI first mindset, what I mean is we need to be thinking of AI not as a side project or not as just as one project. In my opinion, it should sit like a DNA, right? In the work that we do. And it's not it should not happen that okay, one team or two teams are working in creating a product. By AI first mindset, it should sit in every aspect of the entire end to end chain. When you're working in a company, it should be driving business and right from its core, and it should not just sit at a periphery. Now to that example, I can correlate it to maybe like mainframes. You don't hear about mainframes in the headlines anymore, right? But mainframes is something which is the core, right, which is helping in all our core financial institutions operations. That's the invisible engine which is sitting beneath this industry, be it in financial services, be it in your aerospace industry. Likewise, AI also should not be seen that okay, it's a project and then okay, we are implementing AI projects. It should be part of the DNA where for enterprise, it should sit and seamlessly work across every function in the organization, delivering efficiencies and helping in being competitive in the industry.
Well, trust is such an important part of that equation. What are some of the things that you have done that have helped to overcome trust gaps?
From a trust perspective, like I said, I mean, having responsible AI framework and having the governance in place is very important. We have an AI governance, we have a data governance. Both teams are there, okay, who ensure that the trust is there. Our data scientists ensure that the models are explainable, they don't sit like a black box. Okay, so any results that are coming out or given out, they have to be like explainable. And then, of course, when the results are vetted by business, so that everything which is coming out from the models, they just don't remain like a black box. It has to be uh, the UOT has to be passed by the business users that yes, these results are making sense, and that's how we are improving our trust. And then, of course, once we see the results, we do an A/B testing kind of a thing, right, where we compare the results and we have a control group and a test group, and we see how much impact we are able to like bring in the two, and that clearly improves the trust in the systems.
So, for executives that are earlier in their journey, what is your guidance for establishing their strategy? You're a strategist by nature. What do you recommend to executives who are early in their strategy journey?
So people who are early in their journey, right, or also, or it may be the founders or established companies also who are setting up their AI practice. I would say the first and the foremost thing is ensuring that the data foundations are built. Okay, the foundations of data have to be absolutely correct. Otherwise, it's all going to be junk in, junk out. AI projects should not work in silos, like I said. It should not be working as a periphery. It should be embedded into your existing business processes. And having clear objectives, right? Don't just have a Gen AI project for the sake of having it. They are powerful. And how do you let it like integrate with other systems? Very, very important. And have an AI strategist, I would say you should not have too much over dependence on vendors. You should not have too much dependence on a platform product, right? If someone is knowledgeable, someone is from that background and has worked on projects on scale, I would say the person can fill in and help in having the right AI strategy. So if founders can take in these kind of aspects, or it would like is going to help avoid any kind of financial impact, because the cost of failure for AI projects is significantly high as well. So if 5% projects are also successful, the revenue impact is going to be tremendous. So having the right strategy in place for that really matters.
What resources do you recommend for listeners who want to learn more about you and about how to be successful in their AI deployments?
For me, I can be found on LinkedIn, I would say. So LinkedIn is my most important and most active network where I am. Resources, I think there are tons of resources. Of course, on LinkedIn, you can follow a lot of people, a lot of top voices who are there, who are writing about AI, and you can definitely learn through that. And I would say have Perplexity, ChatGPT. These can be your very close systems to brainstorm and see and try out different aspects. Those can be the closest ones. You want more deeper, then there are lots and lots of folks who are providing specialized talks on these areas. You know, your podcast is one of those, right? So they can definitely leverage these things. One more point which I can say to my listeners over here is don't shy away from failing fast. I would say embrace that you need to fail fast and you learn from your approach. And that's how, you can move forward faster. These days, creating proof of concepts has become very easy. So just test your hypothesis and move forward quickly. And then, of course, it's learn as you go, right? So the more you fail, the more you're able to learn faster.
Is there one thing you would like people to take away from the show today?
One takeaway, have AI in your DNA. That's what I would say. Everything, be it your personal life, be it your professional life, even your family, right? And my 6-year-old is able to make use of AI. She asks it so many questions that, okay, some of the questions, even I am learning that, okay, the answers are much different than what I had thought of. So I would say embed AI into your life in every possible aspect. You will gain from it.
Okay, very good. So, in the AI revolution, what's your defining edge in guiding AI leaders?
There can be two sets of things, right? People who are moving fast, so who are early adopters. So if you're one of those, then you can have an upper edge through that. And then there are companies, there has been a study on that. Okay, so that companies who want to wait and watch. I would say there's no right and wrong answer to it. You can benefit on both aspects of it. It's how you improvise what you have learned from either of the two and have the competitive advantage. That's what matters ultimately.
What's your personal superpower when leading AI initiatives?
I don't assume things. That's a simple thing. I don't believe in assuming anything. I mean, anything can turn anyway, and you need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So these are like the foundations that I follow.
I see. Oh, that's a great insight. Thank you, Nitin Gupta, the Global Product Manager of AI for Mondelēz International, for joining me today on AI Realized.
Thank you so much, Christian. It was a pleasure talking to you.